find any difficulty, then please ask. Okay, it's a little bit difficult, but not that difficult. Okay. uh, we are going to discuss about stochastic gradient descent and other optimization algorithms today, and I hope optimization algorithm that we have discussed earlier was clear to you. I'll give a just quick recap if that is not clear to you, so that you know what we are going to do today. Okay. Um, okay. So let us start. Okay. So we are going to discuss about optimization algorithms. Um, we have discussed about gradient descent, right? So what we are going to see today is stochastic gradient descent. Then there is momentum. Momentum is not in your syllabus, but if you get an idea of it, that then that is good. Uh, then Adam and RMS prop. So we are going to discuss about these optimization algorithms today. Okay. So first of all, let's see a quick recap of what is gradient descent. So gradient descent simply says that we want to reduce our cost function. We want to reduce this j such with respect to weights, j w b with respect to our w, and jwb with respect to our b. It's not theta 1, theta 2 up to theta n here, it's weights. Okay, so we want to reduce these, we want to find the best gradient such that it reduces the error, so such that this loss is zero. Okay, this loss is reduced. So we want to find this minima of this function wherever this value of this function is lowest. Okay, so this is gradient descent, and we want to update our parameters, weights and biases, such that weights are multiplication of this dw. I'll call it a dw and call it db. So this is db, so alpha dw, and it is beta minus alpha db. So alpha is learning rate, and dw and db are the gradients with respect to weights and biases. Okay, so this was clear. This is gradient descent is. There is one thing about gradient descent, that in a gradient descent, what if my learning rate is small, and what if my learning rate is large? So what does learning rate decide? So it decides how much I move towards my goal. What is my step size? So suppose my learning rate is small. So this is the function that I had. This is theta and this is j theta, or jw. This is w, something like that. Okay. So this learning rate, suppose this is small, so if I'm here, so it should move somewhat little steps over here, then up to here, then here, and so on. So if my learning rate is extremely small, it will take so much time to reach to my optima. Okay, but if my learning rate is large, it should not be too large, that suppose I'm here at point A, and if my learning rate is too large, I have reached from here to here, then from here to here, let's say, and then from this point to this point, but my optima was this. So optima is missed out. It should not be, my learning rate should not be that large that optima is missed out. Suppose my optima is missed out. What happens in that case? Suppose I am at point somewhere, let's say 10, okay, and slope, let's say I call slope is 1 at this point, okay. So if I'm updating my weights at this point, it should be somewhat like uh, weight is weight minus alpha into slope, right? So I'm updating it on x-axis is w, let's say, and on y-axis is j of w and b, whatever losses. Okay, so if I'm updating weights, so current weight was 10, and let's say I have set my learning rate to 1, which is very large value. So it would be 1 into, and let's say slope was 1, so it is somewhat 9. So uh, it would reach somewhere here. I'll draw it with another pen so that it would reach from here to somewhat here, okay. Now if I'm here, let's say this was my 9, I'm but slope at this point would be somewhat larger. Let's say now slope is 1.5. So at this point, if I calculate, so w would be 9 minus, slope is negative, so minus 1.5, and alpha is fixed into 1, so that is somewhere 10.5. So w somewhat 10.5, so it will move here. So this is how my gradient descent is working. So it will move from here to here this way, and so on. So instead of reaching to this optima, it is diverging. Instead of convergence, it is diverging. So we should not set learning rate to that much large that it keeps on diverging. Okay. So this is overall idea. So instead of, so what is happening here is this is oscillating so much from it's here to here, from this point A, let's say point A to B, somewhere. This is point A, this is point, initially it was at A, then it was B, then C, then D and E, and so on. So what is happening is it's oscillating. So my gradient descent is oscillating between points. So it should not happen. So we should not set learning rate to too large so that it diverges instead of converging. Okay. So first thing, let's see what is stochastic gradient descent. Stochastic gradient descent. So before understanding that, we have to know that suppose we have m training examples, 1, 2 up to m. This is my data set with m training examples. Now suppose if I have 50 lakh points, suppose I had, okay, so this is very large number. So instead of feeding whole set of points, whole whole training set equal to m, that is 50 lakh points that I have. So instead of feeding these 50 lakh points at once to my model, that is neural network, if I'm feeding all the 50 lakh points, so it will run much slower. So for one epoch, for one time when I'm running through all over the training example whole set, so it is much slower. So in that case, what do? Is we always divide our large training set into mini batches of, say, let's say size somewhat x. Okay, so what happens is, suppose here we had 5 lakhs, so we say that my first batch is of size 1000, second batch is of size 1000, and up to how many batches would be there? So 5000 batches would be there, and each of the size of the batch is 5,000. So for first whenever I'm for first iteration, I'll give my first batch as input, and then learn it, and then update weights, and then keep on repeating for all the batches. So what is the basically algorithm? First of all, I give for 5,000 batches. What do I do? First, I am forward propagation, then calculating the cost function, that is J, then back propagation and updating the weights, and updating weights using the gradients that I have calculated in the back propagation. So these four steps I'll repeat for each and every batches. Okay, so stochastic gradient descent is when there are two types of gradient descent. First is batch gradient descent, and second is stochastic gradient descent. So when I'm giving when my batch size is 1, that means I'm giving only one training example as an input and repeating all these four steps. So how many iterations it would work? It would work for 50 lakh iterations, right? Why? Because the batch size is 1. This is called stochastic gradient descent. And in my batch gradient descent, batch size is m. So the gradient descent that we have discussed earlier, that was a batch gradient descent, where we give whole training example as my input. So whenever we are giving the whole training example as my input to the model, and then we are updating weights, this is called as a batch gradient descent or normally gradient descent. So here batch size would be 50 lakhs in batch gradient descent. Okay, and stochastic gradient descent is when we are giving only one training example, and then we are updating weights, then giving another training example, and then updating weights, and so on. So but this process is not feasible. Why? Because we have to do this for 50 lakh iterations for each and every training example. So this is not feasible. So generally we don't use stochastic gradient descent. And we can use stochastic gradient descent if we have, let's say, small data set. Let's say we have 2000 samples. At that time we can use stochastic gradient descent. So what happens in stochastic gradient descent is, suppose this is the contour plot for contour plot that we have discussed. We have seen earlier that this for each and every point at this contour, j would be the same, value of j would be same. The only thing that is varies is b and w, right? So this was the contour plot, and this is our minima that we want to reach. So in generally when we talk about batch gradient descent, it works like this. It moves into the direction of minima directly. While when we talk about stochastic gradient descent, this is batch gradient descent. When we talk about stochastic gradient descent, it moves like this. There is so much oscillations. Why? Because each and every training examples gives different values. So all the training example, one training example will behave differently, and another training example will behave differently. So this is how we, instead stochastic gradient generally doesn't reach to optima. It keeps on oscillating around this local global minima. So instead of reaching to the optimal goal, it just keeps on oscillating. So this is our stochastic gradient descent. Okay, so it practically we don't use stochastic gradient descent with one training example as input because of high number of oscillations. Okay, to avoid this, there was another approach that was the momentum optimization algorithm. Okay. So what is momentum? So basically this momentum is based on exponential smoothing. So for understanding smoothing, what we want to know is, first of all we should know what is smoothing, then we want to know what is exponential and why we are calling it exponential. So first thing is, for smoothing, suppose I have set of points like 11, 10, 12. and 11 and again 10, then let's say 12. So if I'm taking smoothing of these three, I'm taking average, what will I get? I'll get 11. Then I'll move it to next three. What will I get? I'll get 11 again. Then I'll take next three and I'll get 11 again. Okay, so what is happening here, my series is getting smoother if I take average of these 3 points, right? So whenever I have some random number of points, and if I'm taking average of some particular set, I'm taking average, then average, and then average, so it will somewhat smoother my series always. Okay, so this is the overall idea behind smoothing. So in exponential smoothing, we just use the exponential function. What is it? So exponential function, my exponential function in this exponential smoothing looks like somewhat like Vt is equals to beta Vt plus 1 minus beta theta t. Theta t is the current value of series, current value of the number that we want to calculate, and Vt is the previous value. So basically idea behind this is, idea behind this is, sorry, this is Vt minus 1, previous values. So idea behind this is whenever we are calculating function at the current point, so it is the average of the previous values. How it is the average? Let's say we have v0 is equals to 0. So if we want to calculate v1, that is uh, beta of v naught plus 1 minus beta current value of 1. So this is parameter, this is w and b, either it can be w or it can be b. So this is parameter, current value of the parameter. So this, we can see that v1 is dependent upon v0 and this hyperparameter 1 minus b and beta d. What is hyperparameter? Hyperparameter and parameter. Parameter is w1, b1, w2, b2, all these parameters that are giving as inputs that we are basically calculating. These are the parameters. Okay, hyperparameters uh, are the values like alpha and here beta. Alpha is the learning rate of the model, and beta is here the coefficient, and lambda, that is regularization parameter. We have not discussed regularization, but whenever we see, and other parameters are there like number of iterations and number of epochs you want to run your model, etc., etc. So there are so many hyperparameters. So hyperparameters are the parameters which are controlling the parameters, so which play a role in deciding the parameter values. So these are the hyperparameters. So here our goal is to find out, first is how do we set this beta, how do we set this beta for our model, and secondly what this equation is doing. So this equation is calculating the average of the previous V naught plus 1 minus uh, plus the current value of the parameter, current value of parameter as well as previous value. So this is deciding previous values, and this is deciding the this is current values, weights of previous and the current values. ठीक है. In practically we can set, practically we set beta to be 0.9. Why is it? Let's see. So suppose we have a set of points like this. And it is somewhat distorted. Okay, so when we perform smoothing over this, so it should look something like this. If I am performing smoothing, so it should look something like this. But because we are taking average of, let's say if I'm taking more average of more number of values, if I'm taking less number of values, 2 or 3 values, it will look something like this. But if I'm taking more number of average, it will be somewhat left skewed. it will look something like this. So this is exponential smoothing. Okay. Now there is one more thing while calculating this graph. First, okay, this is exponential smoothing, smooth line. Okay, uh, if I'm calculating this is my first V1. If I'm calculating V2, let's say, so V2 would be, and if I have put in the value of beta to be 0.9, what is the role of beta is, as we keep on increasing beta, so this was for beta 0.9, as we keep on increasing beta, curve would go on shifting to more towards right. Okay, so this means that as we keep on increasing beta, that this means that we are giving more weightage to V naught. That is, we are more giving weightage to previous values instead of our current value. 1 minus beta would be 0.1, this would be 0.9. So we are giving only 1%, that is 10% weightage to our theta 1, that is our current parameters, and we are giving 90% weightage to previous values. Okay. So the idea is, as we keep on increasing beta, so beta 0.9 is very high. That means we are giving weightage to previous values more. Okay. So when we are giving, we are taking giving more values, giving more weightage to previous values. This means that curve would keep on shifting towards right, somewhat right. Okay. So let's say, so for V2, it would be somewhat like beta V1 plus 1 minus beta theta 1. So if I am keeping it 0.9, it would be V1 plus 0.1, it would be theta 1. So 0.9, and then V1 is, we know that it's 0.9 V naught. Here it is 0.9 V naught plus 0.1 theta 1. Okay. So it is, oh sorry, it is theta 2 over here. Okay. So we know that it is 0.9 V naught plus 0.1 theta 1 plus 0.1 theta 2. So you can see that it is a multiplication of 0.9, 0.9 and V naught, and 0.9 and 0.1 theta 1 and 0.1 theta 2. So point of saying is, we are multiplying for for theta 1, we are multiplying it with two numbers, that is 0.1 into 0.9. And for theta, if we are calculating V3, it would be somewhat like 0.9 into 0.1 to the power, sorry, 0.9 to the power 2 theta 1 plus 0.9 into 0.1 into theta 2, and so on. So this would somewhat like this. So basically idea is, we are considering all the past parameters and then we are calculating the average. So this is exponential. So why exponential? Because at every step we are multiplying it with some power of that number, and that power is beta. So that is why exponential. Okay. So first of all, smoothing is basically averaging. Averaging means we are taking the sum of all the previous values of the parameters, that is theta 1, theta 2. For theta 3, we will take theta 1, theta 2 and theta 3, all the thetas. And for theta 2, we'll take theta 1 and theta 2, and so on. So this way it keeps on increasing. So that is the smoothing. And why exponential? Because at every step we are multiplying it with some power, some number of that is the power of the beta. Okay. And what is my beta? Beta is my hyperparameter, which decides that how much I should consider current value and how should I consider the previous value. Okay. So this was overall idea behind exponential smoothing. So up till now, if you have any confusions, you can ask.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you repeat what is the difference between hyperparameter and parameter?
Yes. So only parameters are the ultimate values that we want to fit our model. Okay. So we want W's and B's. We want to fit the equation for the model. We want only weights and biases, right? We have input X, we have output Y, and we want to reduce the cost so that we want to get the best W and B. We want to get the best parameter values, that is W1 and B1 and W2 and B2 and so on. We want to get the best weights and biases so that my model has lowest cost, lowest error. ठीक है. So hyperparameters are those parameters which are controlling the parameters. So only parameters in my model are weights and bias. Just remember this. Rest all are hyperparameters.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Any other doubt up till now? I guess no doubt. Still I'm repeating. So first is gradient descent. In gradient descent, we also call this as batch gradient descent. This is also called batch gradient descent. In batch gradient descent, we give whole m number of examples, whole set as input. In stochastic gradient descent, we give one example as input, and then we update weights, then we give next example, then we update weights, and so on, up till all m training examples are covered. In momentum, we'll use exponential smoothing, and we'll see how this works. Okay, we have done 3 optimization algorithms till now. Third is momentum. I'm discussing it, what it is. So we have seen over here that in exponential smoothing is required. So in the previous stochastic gradient descent, what was the problem? That the gradient was oscillating so much. So what if I smooth this this whole way it is traveling from one point to another? What if I smooth this curve? Okay, so this is how. So for this we use exponential smoothing. ठीक है. So instead of this learning function, it is moving from let's say here to here and so on and this way. So what if I smooth this function, and instead of moving this, like instead of, let's say I'll plot for W and I'll plot for B. ठीक है. So it's okay. So it was like something like this, moving something like this. Okay, so instead of moving like this, what if I smooth it? So if I smooth it, it will look something like this. So this is my exponential smoothing. Diagram is very bad, I know, but it will look something like this. Okay, so basically that is why we do exponential smoothing. So what if I perform the smoothing on the gradients? So exponential smoothing, we know that what is exponential smoothing. We only multiply it by parameter beta, and we hyperparameter beta, and we keep on multiplying it so that it is exponential. So we are multiplying it at every time, and smoothing is because we are taking average of previous values. So that is why smoothing. Okay. So we are using exponential smoothing for RMS for this momentum. So momentum uses exponential smoothing. So how does this work? So formula for this is I have. So how do we proceed with our optimization algorithm? First of all, I'll suppose I have 550 lakh records I had. Okay. Now I'm dividing it into 1000 batches. So I have 5000 batches, or I will call it mini batches. So I have 5000 mini batches. So number of iterations would be 5000. So for each iteration, so when all these 5000 iterations are done, so all my records are processed. So all my 50 lakh records are processed, right? Because in first iteration I'll process 1000 training example. In second iteration I'll process another 1000 training examples, and up till 50 lakhs, all the 50 lakhs are processed, right? So for each iteration, what do? We first of all we forward propagate always. We calculate the value of y cap, and then we calculate the loss computation. Loss is basically the error. Then we calculate loss with respect to dw and db, that is we want to calculate the gradients, and then we update the w's. This is our general scenarios that we do. We update w and b are updated. So these are the 4 steps that we follow. 4 steps that we always follow. Okay. Here what do we do is we compute these in the back propagation. We compute dw and db while propagating from here to here. We have computed the loss up till here, and now we are backward propagating. So here we are calculating dw and db. Next, what do we do is we add 2 equations. First equation says vdw. V is the notation. V is the notation for smoothing. Okay, V beta dw 1 minus beta dw. Okay, and for vdb is equals to beta db plus 1 minus beta db. So we have known that beta and 1 minus beta, this is hyperparameter, and what do we want to do is we want to smooth dw and db. So if we want to smooth dw and db, so we are this is vdw. We are creating a new variable v, and we are saying that we will update v, which is dependent on previous values of v, and those previous values are dependent on previous values of v, and so on. And the first value of v is calculated using dw, and second is for the next step of the dw, and so on. Okay, so this is the equation for exponential smoothing, and which is I have written in terms of dw and db. Instead of vt, I am writing vdw, and instead of vt minus 1, I am writing vdw, and so on. Okay, so this is only 2 equations are added in the backward propagation step. So now we have computed this. We'll compute these 2, and we will, instead of updating the weights like simply, we will update it like this, minus alpha v dw. Instead of writing dw over here, we are writing v dw. And similarly for b minus alpha v db. So instead of writing db over, we know that updation of weights are like this. Instead of writing dw and db, we are writing vdw and vdb. Now what is v? V's are dependent on previous values of weights as well. So that is how this dw and db's are smooth. Okay, so this is momentum. This is gradient descent with momentum. So any confusion up till now? No confusion. Or no response, or sleeping, class is sleeping, or whatever. Or it is too difficult to understand.
मतलब थोड़ा और समय लगेगा सर.
अच्छा, थोड़ा समय लगेगा. हाँ, वो तो ठीक है, बट थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ में आ रहा है कि क्या हो रहा है एग्जैक्टली.
जी मैम. एक्सक्यूज मी मैम.
हाँ पूछो.
मैम क्या आप जो फॉर्मूला यूज कर रहे हो उसके
हाँ
अंदर जो सिंबल्स यूज कर रहे हो उसको प्लीज आप लिख सकते हो.
हाँ बिल्कुल.
V is equals to values and W equals to weights, etc.
हाँ ठीक है. तो इस वाली इक्वेशंस में या फिर प्रीवियस वाली इक्वेशंस में यहाँ पे?
यस मैम, ये वाली इक्वेशन.
ये वाली इक्वेशन में. अच्छा, तो यहाँ पे जो बीटा है वो हमारा डिसाइड करता है. थीटा जो है दैट इज द करंट वैल्यू ऑफ पैरामीटर. So I'll write it on another page. ठीक है. So let's see, we have this equation Vt is equals to beta Vt minus 1 plus 1 minus beta and theta t. So Vt is the what do you call it? It's a value that is dependent on previous Vt minus 1 values. ठीक है, and beta is the hyperparameter deciding the weights. Weights means how much do we want to give weight to previous values and how much we want to give weight to current values. And theta t is the current value of function, value of any function, which can be theta, j theta or something like that at point t. ठीक है, so theta t is basically the current value. Let's say if I have a function, so if I draw a function, so how much do I give weight? So it will look something like this, because at point t it is something like this, at point t minus 1 it's something like this, because we are multiplying those values with here it would be multiplied by 0.9, here it would be multiplied by 0.9 into 0.01, so like this. Okay, so leave that part, but still, so Vt is basically the value that is dependent on previous value. So if I am talking about momentum optimization, so for momentum optimization, momentum optimization algorithm, I have values like what would be my equation? It would be the same as it was a previous value. It is VdW is equals to beta VdW plus 1 minus beta dW. Now here I want to, instead of theta, I want to smooth out the dW. So I want to, dW is the value that I want to, that is to be smooth. ठीक है, and beta is the hyperparameter which controls basically how much controls the weights, how much I want to take input as the current value. This is the current value of the function dw that I want to smooth. ठीक है, current value of function that I want to smooth. ठीक, and beta is the hyperparameter. VdW is a new value that is basically, you can say it is some which is dependent on previous value. So VdW is you can say it's a simply the calculation that is dependent upon previous value. So you can say the final smoothed value at time t, which is dependent upon depending upon t minus 1, t minus 2 and so on. Okay, so this is final smooth value. ठीक है, so this is a momentum optimization for W. Similarly, we have momentum optimization for B, that is VdB and plus 1 minus beta dB. So this is first equation for smoothing dW, and this is second equation for smoothing dB. ठीक है, so we want to smooth dW and dB so that it will reach to optimization function bottom at the without oscillating much. ठीक है, so this is overall idea behind momentum optimization. अब what we can do now is, there's one more thing that I want to show you, that we are smoothing this from when we have set of points over here. So it is giving me smoothing function. It should be giving me smoothing function from here. Okay, but what happens is I'm setting V0 to 0. So V1 is dependent upon V0 plus beta V0 plus 1 minus beta theta of theta t. It's like dW, so it would be here dW instead of theta t. ठीक है, So it would be 0.9 V naught plus 0.1 dW. So I'll write this equation so to avoid confusion. So if keeping my beta to 0.9, which is generally in practical situations, we keep it to 0.9. Okay. So you can see that V naught is 0, so it would be only 0.1 into dW. So V1 would start from here. So V naught is 0. This is on y direction if there is V on y direction. So V naught would be here, V1 would be here, so it would be somewhere here. So this curve would start from here instead of starting from here. So this A point and this is B point. So instead of starting from this point, it is starting from B point. I'll draw it with another pen. So here is the difference. Instead of starting it from here, it's starting from here. Okay. So at the calculations, I can see that it is 0.1 into dW. It's very less. So it's starting from this point. So curve would look something like this. Actual curve would look something like this. But we want the curve to look something like the pink line that I have. This. We want it to look like pink line, but it's looking like yellow line practically due to my equation. So there is one addition in the exponential smoothing that is called bias correction. So what is bias correction? What if I multiply this value at point A? If I multiply value at point A, multiplying this value at point A with a larger number, right? If I multiply it with a larger number, so it will give me the value, some value at point B. So instead of multiplying, I will divide it with a smaller number. So it is one and the same thing. If I divide it with a smaller number or I multiply it with a larger number, it will, what will happen? It will get somewhat corrected to pink line that we want. We want pink line, but it is giving me yellow line. So this is called the bias correction. Okay. So I'm multiplying it over here with the number a into some number which is 1 minus some number. So 1 minus some, let's say beta t. So if I multiply this, because this number is less than 1, so if I divide it with a smaller value, it is same as multiplying it with a larger value. So that is why this is called bias correction. So Vt is basically multiplied by 1 upon 1 minus beta to the power t. Why this is done? Because this is a smaller number than 1, and if I multiply Vt by a smaller number than 1, it will give me some larger Vt. So now my yellow line would shift to pink line. So this is the calculation that you already have. So for this, so why this bias correction is done? Basically to shift the yellow line to pink line. And why it's shifting? Because it is starting from 0 and from very less point, because initially V naught is 0. We cannot change that. So instead we update V1 by multiplying it with this number, larger number. Okay. Then again we multiply V2 with this larger number and so on up till here, up till this point, where we need where we say that okay, at this point we don't need bias correction. So up till that point we do bias correction. Okay. So this is called bias correction. This is also the part of what do you call this, momentum optimization. Now next optimization function is RMS prop. RMS prop. RMS prop.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, in previous slide, you told that if we multiply with it with bias correction, then our graph will move upward.
Mm.
Ma'am, but V naught is equals to 0. If we multiply it by any number, it will always give us 0.
Right. But
Then,
for V naught we cannot change. But for we'll start with V1 with the first value at time t is equals to 1. V naught is the initial value that we are giving as input so as to calculate my first point. First point is V1. And for V1, if I'm getting a point, so V1 I'll get 0.1 into dW, Now I multiply V1 with this bias correction number. So it will get risen up to some value. V0 is not the point that we plot on the graph because V0 is not in the equation because we don't have a value of dW at V0. Right? Weights are from time t is equals to 1.
Okay, ma'am.
So V0 is just initialization parameter. Initialization for initializing this function. Okay. Now RMS prop. So for RMS prop, it is working is exactly same as a smoothing function. But RMS prop and ADAM, these are extremely popular algorithms, and whenever you are using optimization, generally we use ADAM or RMS prop. Okay, because it practically it works well for large applications, for large number of applications. So try using RMS prop and ADAM optimizer, and try repeating your algorithm whenever you are fitting your function for both of these. So in RMS prop, only one formula is there that you have to learn, that is STW is equals to beta 2 SDW plus 1 minus b. I'm writing beta 2 because beta 2 so that to avoid confusion, beta 1 was for momentum. Okay, so beta 2 is for hyperparameter for RMS prop. These two are hyperparameters. Okay, and here in RMS prop, what do? We square and we do square root. Only two changes are there. So SDB is equals to beta 2 SDB plus 1 minus beta 2 and dB square. And here W is equals to W minus alpha dW upon STW, and B is equals to beta minus alpha dB on. So what we are doing is we are just multiplying it. Instead of we are multiplying it with the single number, we are squaring it over here, and we are dividing it by square root. Only one difference is there. So it's same as momentum, only one difference is there. We are squaring and doing square root. Now why we are doing this? So idea behind square root, doing square root is that suppose we have very large number of very large STW. STW is the calculation that is dependent upon previous calculations. Okay, you are getting it. It's similar to VDW in the previous slide. Okay, so just notation is different. Okay, so if STW is very large, what will happen? This whole term this whole term would be extremely smaller. So if whole term is extremely smaller, what would happen? That weights would almost remain same. So if whole term is, let's say, 10 to the power minus 5. So if I am subtracting 10 to the power 5 with the 10 to the power minus 5 with the weight, so it's almost same. So there is no point of updating the weights. So that is why, to avoid the explosion of a numerator, or to avoid that explosion, that it is reduced to 10 to the power minus 5, we do square root. So that is why we do square root, because there are so many multiplications. What can happen is that SDW or SDB can reach to extremely large number. So to avoid that, and to so that our weights our weights are updating at every point, somewhat with okay speed. It should not be like weights are not getting updated and weights are updating with 10 to the power minus 5 value. I'm subtracting something 10 to the power minus 5 in weights, so that is almost the same. So there's no point of updating like this. So that is why we do root mean square propagation. Now there is ADAM optimizer. ADAM optimizer is the multiplication, addition of momentum plus RMS prop. So there are two equations. First equation works with the momentum, and second equation works with the RMS prop. So this is ADAM optimizer algorithm. So let's end this class today. Read about ADAM optimizer. If you find any difficulty, I'll explain it in another class, but we don't have time right now. So let's end this, and if you have any difficulty, do let me know. Okay. I know that this lecture is a little bit confusing, or what